Good evening. This is Maestro Cotella with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Ulthane Temple. Our first player is Lohaha, playing as the Techmarine. This is a Space Marine ranged hero. Starts out with a bolter. He can swap that out for a meltagun, a plasma gun, or a power axe, so he's definitely got some versatility. He can also repair vehicles, build relay beacons, and turrets. His first teammate is bibotot 1995. This is a Imperial Guard support commander, can't really get a good look at him. He's the only hero who is a squad. He starts out with 2 Stormtrooper retinue members, and he can upgrade to get additional retinue members that have different functions and specialities. He can also buff his troops using abilities that he gets from his war gears. Next up on the blue team, we have Falk, playing as the Eldar Farseer. This is another support commander. She also has some buffing spells. She has Guide that comes right out of the gate, and then she has several others that she can upgrade to. She also has debuffing spells, and she has some control spells as well, and damage. On the red team, we are going to start out with Manifest, playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer, about to get shot up by a firing line of Space Marines, and to be honest, looks like he's going to go down. But this is a spell-casting hero. He can shoot long-range Doom Bolts, as well as teleporting himself and teleporting some of his own units. Next up, we have Dwayn, playing as the Orc Kommando Nob. This is a sneaky orc with a surprisingly loud gun for a sneaky orc. He can also upgrade to get a knife, a special shooter, a rocket launcher, and he's got a variety of bombs as well. And finally, we have Trexx, playing as the freebooters Orc Warboss. I think I really need to work on my pirate accent, but this is a aggressive tanky melee hero. Out of all the tanky melee heroes, I would say he is one of the more aggressive ones, since he can charge. He has some special war gears, everyone has special war gears. He also has those very good Orc Globals or Warboss Globals, Use Your Choppas, and Ard Boys. So it looks like in his aggressive push towards actually the opponent's base, he was even able to get a decap and even tried to cap the blue team's natural power node, but it wasn't ultimately successful. Manifest saying that he needs help since his Sorcerer went down while he was capturing the power node. In fact, I don't think he was even able to finish the capture with the Sorcerer because we had a whole firing line of Scouts, Tacs, and Tactical Marines. Oh, I already said that. Scouts, Tacs, and the Techmarine. Anyway, Chaos Space Marines getting forced off by the combined might of the Sentinel, as well as dual Guardsmen and a Lord General. A lot of ranged firepower coming out of bibotot, a very ranged-heavy build, and especially considering he's playing as the Lord General, who starts out with a decent amount of range damage. He's actually also decent in melee as well. So, blue team with a fairly early lead in VPs. We've got 490 to 434. We even have the Techmarine putting down a turret, which he's going to use to lock down this contested VP for a little while. Looks like we've got both bibotot and Falk moving through the middle. Maybe we're going to come down south here. But they're all bunched up together. Heavy weapon team set up in a position. Is it? Yes, it's set up right here. And not actually a whole lot has been happening other than just people moving their armies, but they're all moving together, so something big might happen. We've got Heretics moving along with Chaos Space Marines and Shooter Boys, Raptors as well. Wow, we might even have most of the players come meet right here in the middle. Warboss charges in. The heavy weapon team was suppressing something else, so we actually managed to get in. He's tying up the heavy weapon team. Already used the stomp, but he gets a special attack too. A stun bomb goes in. Heavy weapon team in trouble with dual sluggers now in here. So heavy weapon team goes down. Both sluggers get knocked down by the Howling Banshees. Howling Banshees getting suppressed though, but they get a Spirit Stone's heal from the Farseer, and one of the Slugger Boys looks like it does go down even with Ard Boys, and we now have the Howling Banshees in trouble as well. They're down to 10, 14, one hit point. Can the Farseer finish off this squad of Slugger Boys? And it does. Or she does. So wow, crazy engagement. 3 squads went down, with a 4th one getting down to 1 hit point.
We shall make it so.
Looks like a Lord General went down as well in that engagement. Anyway, Sentinel, I think, pushing its luck right here with not too much health, gets hit by Doom Bolts and nearly goes down from the Doom Bolts. Need to be very, very careful about that. Doom Bolts do plasma damage, so they will actually do bonus damage to the heavy infantry armor of the Sentinel. Anyway, Heretics actually firing their auto pistols now and trying to come in for a flank on this turret, but they need to be very, very careful. There's a lot of support for the turret in the form of a grenade going in for one, killing like 4 models, or maybe it was just 3 and 1 was a turret kill from the turret. So turrets can be very, very difficult to dislodge in team games. Sorcerer goes down as well for the 2nd time now, especially because the turret really locks down anything hard that's pretty much in front of it. And then even if you do manage to get behind it, you have to worry about a lot of the powerful range fire coming out of the Techmarine. Anyway, it looks like things are happening right here with some Storm Boys jumping in. They actually scare off the Howling Banshees, and a Warboss is here as well. Alright, meanwhile, Chaos Space Marines, I feel a little exposed, but it looks like the Guardsmen aren't shooting at them, so they're okay. They need to try to get in cover. They are kind of the lead unit, but they're up against like 4 different ranged units. Raptors jump in. Looks like, are we going to see a shotgun blast? Yes, we are. Slows down the Raptors a little bit, but not long enough, to be honest, and now they're charging along with the Heretics, and that's very, very dangerous, although the Techmarine does now have Bionics, so he can himself be a very, very powerful melee counter. Bionics does some very nasty things to Heretics. Bionics is the war gear, the ability is Powerful Sweep. Oh, unfortunately, I think he really gave up the advantage there. Well, he moved back because he knew that he was being drawn into the firing arc of the turret, and he wasn't going to do very well in there, but he still gave up some pressure. Does manage to take out 2 TAC models. These TAC models way overextended. Heretics themselves getting a little risky, and the Chaos Space Marines currently rather unopposed, as neither the Scouts nor the Techmarine were shooting at the Chaos Space Marines, and they force off the Scouts in that engagement. Meanwhile, over here, we have Use Your Choppas on some Storm Boys. Storm Boys at fairly low health, though, 131 with 3 out of 5 models. Shooter Boys, meanwhile, despite being in light cover, there's just too much Imperial Guard stuff right there. They were there pretty much by themselves. The other squad of Shooter Boys was nearby, but not close enough to fire at all these squads. Bibotot now going for a pretty ranged-heavy build. He's got Assault Kit Stormtroopers, as well as a Sniper Rifle on his Lord General. The Sniper Rifle's ability will actually help to increase the range of all these squads. Stormtroopers now in a lot of trouble. There goes the ability. I believe it's fire on my target. Yes, and this squad of Storm Boys is done. Wow, I did not think it was going to go down right there, but just too much range damage coming out of that. But it looks like we're going to have a trade with the Sentinel going in. So Raptors managed to take out the Sentinel, and I don't know if that Sentinel had the ground pound upgrade. Here are some attempted stick bombs, which ultimately hit nothing. But Raptors now going to be pretty powerful with their Aspiring Champion, since they do get that Lightning Claw model, which does power melee, and they also have a Melt-A-Gun on that Lightning Claw model, on that Aspiring Champion model, really. Alright, Eldar bashing a contested power generator. It's funny, I think they're actually bashing a generator I think Falk is bashing a generator that he had himself built. However, it was recaptured by the red team, so then it actually belonged to them, which is one of the risks of building generators on a contested power node. Meanwhile, Chaos pretty much just bashing generators right here, unopposed at the moment. We are going to have some Scouts run in. Looks like they're content to do range damage and throw a grenade. I think the grenade actually finished off the generator. One of the squads of Heretics now in quite a bit of trouble. In fact, it's definitely going to go down. So one squad of Heretics goes down. It was a non-Aspiring Champion Heretic squad, so not a huge loss. It would be a huge loss if he kept those Chaos Space Marines in and left them, or lost them. But as it is, I think lucky to get out with 3 models with only 145 hit points. We've got some sizable looking armies with the coming out of Falk. He's now got some warp spiders, extremely powerful range damage squad. They are kind of like at the top of the food chain of ranged units in Tier 2, or as I like to call them, range superiority units. However, we do now have a Death Dread coming out, and so far there isn't really any sufficient AV from most of the players on the blue team. I mean, we have Warp Spiders, they already have the Haywire Grenade, and we have an Executioner Spear, but I don't think that's going to be enough to take out a Death Dread. But wow, blue team actually looking to triple the bottom, maybe moving into, probably destroy this power farm. Dwayn is moving down there, but he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff. He's looking a little underpowered. However, his Kommando Nob's being really sneaky. About to throw in some stick bombs, and oh my god, they're all walking into it! Oh, that was a pretty nice stick bombs. Although we did have a Spirit Stone Teal from the Farseer to mitigate some of the effect of the stick bombs. As well as a Bloodletter summoning at the moment will reinforce any models that walk through it, well, any allied models. Raptors jumping in, meanwhile, Doombolt's going in, and Chaos Space Marines kind of keeping out of the fight, but managing to do some damage with their very powerful ranged attacks. And the Death Dread has taken some damage. However, right now it can charge most of this stuff, except a missile launcher has been put on this particular attack squad. And the Scouts are nearly getting wiped. Maybe he'll go for a wipe on the Scouts, but he also needs to make sure that he ties up the Tactical Marines. Alright, he's got the Tactical Marines tied up by the Death Dread, and now everything else is forced off, so I think this is pretty much a one engagement for the red team, and a lot of it actually was courtesy of the use of this Death Dread. Attacks now have very, very low health, but need to be extremely careful. Oh, Death Dread in a lot of trouble. It's going to turn around. Yeah, I knew it was going to have enough hit points to survive one missile hit. We need... Oh, no! Wow, I didn't think that was going to hit. A Plasma Cannon Devastator shot finishing off the Death Dread. Very, very nice. I felt like that was more accurate than usual. Maybe that's one of the unintended consequences of Plasma Cannons changed to now fire at an arc instead of kind of just the straight shot that they used to, because that seemed unusually accurate for a long-distance Plasma Cannon shot on a moving unit. Wow, look at how quickly the Warboss went down right there. I mean, we have double Warp Spiders. The amount of damage coming out of double Warp Spiders is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, with their Exarch, although neither of them have their Exarch at the moment, but with their Exarch, I believe they do over 100 DPS piercing. Over 100. Just to illustrate just how powerful that is, the Dire Avengers do about, the Dire Avengers with no Exarch do about 43 DPS piercing. Meanwhile, stick bombs go in, mostly dodged without even teleporting. So a single squad of Warp Spiders is doing more than double the damage of most Tier 1 ranged unit. That's just how powerful they are. So two of them is absolutely ludicrous damage. It's an extremely hard counter to a hero like the Warboss, which is definitely something that Eldar has that's very, very powerful. They can very, very extremely hard counter tanky melee heroes in Tier 2. Plasma Cannon shot goes in, harming both Chaos Space Marines and Scouts. Scouts go down in that, so that was actually friendly fire really managing to kill Scouts. They took most of the damage from the Plasma Cannon, and then the Raptors managed to finish them off. Raptors didn't even lose a single model. He did lose some models on his Chaos Space Marines, and at some point, he lost his Heretics. And for some reason, we've got players all the way in Tier 3. It looks like we had a lot of players skipping Tier 2 pretty much. We have Dwayn going straight to Nobs, Manifest going straight to a Great Unclean One. Lohaha and bibotot are in Tier 3, although they don't have any squads yet. Although they both actually bought squads in Tier 2. Lohaha only with the Plasma Cannon Devastators, so he didn't actually spend any power. Well, he may have spent power on his Techmarine with a Plasma Gun. And bibotot did get 2 squads of Stormtroopers. Warboss is in here. He does now have the heavy armor, and I was going to say, like, with the amount of range fire that he's running into, I think that's actually a no-brainer choice for the Warboss at this point. Howling Banshees jumping in or running in, taking out a bunch of shooter models, chasing them down, and blue team actually looking to capture the red team's natural victory point at this point. I think he's going to move in with the Farseer, and then he should maybe do something else with all these Warp Spiders and Howling Banshees. I mean, these squads are too powerful to just sit around doing nothing. And he actually doesn't go for the cap. I'm surprised. Or he doesn't decide to finish it. He could have at the very least gotten the decap. Meanwhile, here is that Great Unclean One. Great Unclean One is relatively unchallenged. But here is some kind of a call-in from Lohaha. It is going to be a Venerable Dreadnought. Man, these players going straight to the super units. So Venerable Dreadnought, hard to say whether the Venerable really, I don't know if it necessarily beats a Great Unclean One, but the Great Unclean One is suddenly taking a lot of damage. And now, because it is getting shot at by Plasma Gun Guardsmen, another squad of heretics goes down for Manifest. He is just sacrificing them to the Dark Gods, and Manifest actually teleports his Great Unclean One out of there, and yeah, it was actually in a huge amount of trouble. This Kommando Nob really trolling around with his explosive abilities. It chose to get the Beta Combat Kit, increases his energy. I was actually wondering if he might go for the warrior that would improve his ability to use explosives. Anyway, Manifest, yeah, he needs new heretics. He has lost a lot of heretics, and he needs some worship support for this Great Unclean One. He needs to worship it. He needs the Rod of Warpfire to knock over some tactical marines. Instead, he uses Chains of Torment. Actually, not that bad of an idea, because at least for that time, they're completely at the mercy of the Great Unclean One. But he needs something to be able to deal with the Venerable Dreadnought. And I mean, he does have the Great Unclean One, which, I mean, it does do damage to the Venerable Dreadnought, but I think he needs something extra just to be careful. Venerable Dreadnought, meanwhile, now actually has a Dark Age of Technology upgrade, and this further increases its health. I mean, look at how much health the Venerable Dreadnought has now. 2,050, and it's interesting, because they did this, they gave the Venerable Dreadnought a Dark Age of Technology when it didn't have it before, so now it can have up to 2,050 hit points. Meanwhile, there are units like the Carnifex where they actually fairly recently decreased the amount of hit points it has with the Thornback upgrade. Wow. I think we had a squad just wiped in midair. Now, I'm not trying to say that they shouldn't have done this, but I'm just noticing the differences. But another difference to consider between these two races is that the Venerable Dreadnought is a call-in, is a unique call-in. I don't remember if you can only have one Venerable Dreadnought. I've never seen a player call down two, so I don't know if maybe there's a limit to one. Whereas Carnifexes are, well, only limited by your population, and it's definitely not uncommon at all to see a Tyranid player to get 2 Carnifexes, and sometimes not even uncommon to see them get 3. I've seen 3 Carnifexes more often than I've seen two Venerable Dreadnoughts. Anyway, we do have some worship support for the Great Unclean One, as well as a tank to back it up. A Nurgle tank, so he's going with a Nurgle build. And looks like Warp Spiders went down right there. Wow, so one squad of Warp Spiders down for Falk. I don't know what they died to. Maybe it was probably the Commandos. Anyway, we have a Warboss. Wow, this Warboss being incredibly aggressive, charging in. We need some support. Here come the Nobs. Nobs look like they're going for the Leman Russ. Leman Russ is actually a Vanquisher Leman Russ, which will increase its AV potential. Anyway, and here we go with a Psychic Storm. Grenade goes in on the Flash, gets down to 1 model. Crazy stuff happening. Lots of things dying. Banshees are done. They're sitting around in fire, as well as getting blasted apart, or blast people with hammers, getting hammered apart by Nobs. But I think it's the Commandos doing a really, really good job now, and Dwayn suddenly has a large army. Commandos, a relatively underused orc unit these days because they're often overshadowed by flash kits, but they're still very, very good. They do very high range damage. Not as much as flash kits, but still very, very high. Better than Shooter Boys. Even fully upgraded Shooter Boys. And they have a bunch of different abilities. They have their Burn-a-Bomb. They have... what else? They have Love Dadaka. Alright, we have a little bit of a showdown between Lohaha and Manifest. Just staring at the VP, but it's up to Manifest to make a move. He might want to move up the worship a little bit so that he can maybe even get a decap under infiltration with the Sorcerer. Now, he really needs squads. Not units, he needs squads. He should not buy another vehicle at this point because he needs squads for capping. Well, basically for capping, pretty much. because he's only got 2 squads at the moment. One of them is an extremely fragile squad of heretics, which he should get an aspiring champion on. And, well, alright, he does do exactly what I said. He did get the decap under worship, and he also I think he needs, oh, he has extra AV. Not very powerful AV, but the Chaos Predator with this mark will actually function as AV against the Venerable Dreadnought. However, it needs to be careful, and the Chaos Predator also, under worship and with as much health as it has with the Nurgle upgrade, it's actually not hard countered by the Tactical Marines. Tactical Marines actually very soft countering this, and I think he's friendly firing his own units with the plasma cannon. But I mean, if we notice, the Venerable Dreadnought currently is in a fairly good situation. The Venerable Dreadnought will do full damage to the Great Unclean One because the Great Unclean One has super heavy infantry armor. Meanwhile, the Venerable Dreadnought will only take half damage from the Great Unclean One. And he loses another squad of heretics. Ouch. We need a new squad. So he's getting new heretics, which, yeah, he does need that, but he needs a new squad, any kind of squad. Put Chaos Space Marines out on the field. Even a fresh squad of Chaos Space Marines and then upgrade them would do very, very well against all this stuff. Oh no, he just might lose this Predator. Actually, I don't think so. But the Predator is now completely immobilized because it has been hit by 2 Haywires. The only follow-up is this Venerable Dreadnought. Alright, he needs to do the Sorcerer. Alright, Chains of Torment. Not really that great. He's going to lose the Sorcerer again. Close call. Alright, he might not lose the Sorcerer. Might lose the Chaos Predator. It needs some repairs for the Predator. Even needs the Great Unclean One to come back out. He's getting pushed all the way back into his base. Needs to not worship. Here is a Rocks. Mostly missing. Rocks to support, but yeah, that wasn't quite going to do it. So bibotot, or not bibotot, Manifest getting pushed back really, really hard. So lucky for the Orc players, they're pushing all the way forward to get a decap, and now even going for a cap on the blue team's natural VP. We have a Vanquisher Cannon Leman Russ trying to shoot at the Kommando Nob. Now, the Vanquisher Leman Russ does have extended range. It shoots very, very far. But it doesn't have as good accuracy or I believe as good splash against infantry. It definitely can still hit infantry, but it's not as good against infantry as the other cannons for the Leman Russ. You really should mainly get it as a anti-vehicle purchase. Anyway, a lot of things are about to happen. Tank Buster Barrage going down on the Leman Russ, forcing it off, as well as a double flash gets. Is that an Eldritch Storm? It is an Eldritch Storm. Most of the units are right here, retreating right into it. And I don't know if... Alright, I think at least one squad got wiped there. However, there were other squads of flash gets. This squad of flash gets just might get wiped. Maybe even the... Oh no, they don't, because they get knocked over by a Kommando Nob special shooter shot. And now they're going down too. So many of these Eldar squads. Wow, so I think more Eldar squads went down in that engagement. Another one's going to go down. This Dire Avenger nearly dead. Oh, he doesn't go down. I thought the Warboss just might finish him off there with his Twin-Link shooter. Alright, meanwhile, both the Dreadnought and the Great Unclean One are actually lasting pretty long. I mean, they're both very, very tough, and they're both getting either repairs or health regeneration in the case of the Great Unclean One. Meanwhile, Manifest did exactly what I said he shouldn't do. He got another vehicle, and this one with the Mark of Tzeentch. Now, the good thing about that is that he'll probably be able to make pretty short work of this Venerable Dreadnought now with the Mark of Tzeentch. He really just needs something else for capping, as well as like, well, just some kind of infantry, really. Capping, he could actually use another squad of heretics because he now has 3 units that need heretic support. He has the Great Unclean One, which needs worship support, and then he has these 2 predators, which need repairs. So I think his new squad should actually be a new squad of heretics, and he has so much resources that he could get both the squad of Chaos Space Marines and heretics, so that's pretty much what I think he should do. My guess, though, is that he's saving up for Terminators because he's only 15 red away from getting Terminators. So if he wants that, get Terminators, and then also get a new squad of heretics. So red team actually managing to stay in this game. with Manifest finally managing to break through. There is now a Land Raider Redeemer out from Lohaha. And wow, look at all the models that died here that I somehow missed. And after a lot of crazy things have finally slowed down a little bit. What are these heretics doing? Alright, they're lucky to get out of there alive. Put an aspiring champion on them, please. And he does go for Terminators. Alright, so that's fine. Terminators, I mean, Terminators are a lot more... They are a very good late-game substitute to Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, because they are quite a bit more versatile. And Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines are already very versatile, but Chaos Terminators are one of the most versatile units in Chaos's army, especially with the autocannon. Well, mostly with the autocannon, actually. So I think they're fantastic, and I think you should actually get them if you can over Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines in the late game. If you can, though. That requires you to have red. And sometimes red is actually better spent on other things. So, wow. Tactical Marines use And They Shall Know No Fear to get the cap. Now he's going to probably move the Chaos Terminators in to get the decap there, or... Well, he's got to move something in because the VP counter is ticking against the red team. Meanwhile, over here, Fire Prism in a huge amount of trouble. Fire Prism not going to make it out of there alive. One stray rocket from the Kommando Nob finishes it off. Fire Prism's typically difficult to keep alive against a Kommando Nob player because of that infiltrating Kommando Nob with the rocket launcher. Anyway, meanwhile back here, I actually think Manifest is now in a very, very strong position because Lohaha really does not have a whole lot of AV. He has 2 squads of missile attacks, but they are in base. So right now there is not a whole lot stopping both of these Chaos Predators from overwhelming pretty much the Space Marines right here. This Las Cannon Predator slowly chipping away at the Land Raider Redeemer. We have another call-in. Maybe this is a new Venerable Dreadnought. No, it's a squad of Terminators. So Terminators, they do have Power Fists. If they can force melee the Predator, they would do damage, but they're not making it. Well, alright, Predator needs to stay microing, and we need the rest of the squads and units here to start targeting these Terminators, scare them off. Lohaha now does have his missile attacks out, and another squad of Heretics is going to go down. That's like the 6th or 7th squad of Heretics that he has lost in this game. Alright. Terminators finally getting forced off. A lot of back and forth in this lane, although at one point I would say it was Manifest really just getting hit pretty hard. Missile attacks now can definitely threaten the Tzeentch Predator. Tzeentch Predator should only take 2 more missile hits and it will go down. But we do have a Great Unclean One as well as some subjugated Terminators. Subjugated Terminators in this case not doing a whole lot other than just pressuring Lohaha to move back. Meanwhile, mostly focusing on that other lane. What's going on over here? Still the blue team with their VP. So actually, I think still the more interesting things are going on right here. The Chaos Predator will go down in 1 missile hit, but it looked like Lohaha was targeting the Great Unclean One instead because the Great Unclean One is chasing after the Terminators. Terminators get reinforced, and the Land Raider Redeemer was in a lot of trouble as well. I think this Great Unclean One now in a bit of trouble. I did see that Manifest does know about the Warp Global and knows to use it. However, where is his Sorcerer? The Sorcerer is only over here. So Great Unclean One in a little bit of trouble. There is some more worship or some more heretics which can worship and infiltrate the Great Unclean One as well as everything else. Meanwhile, we do have an infiltrated squad of commandos getting the decap on this VP. There was, looks like a singularity was about to go off. Only pulls in the Farseer. Anyway, Leman Russ. Oh, one more cannon shot from the Leman Russ will take out this Predator. And unfortunately did not micro that Predator away. He's calling out 2, and unfortunately maybe typing caused him to not micro his Predator. Really just needed to move back there. And meanwhile, he actually did not take out the Land Raider Redeemer. So he's getting a new Predator, and he's still got a whole lot of resources in the bank. So he could get one additional, well, at least 1 additional unit after he gets that Predator. Although, I think it should also be another squad of Heretics. It almost seems like he's really content to just buy new squads of heretics instead of keeping the old ones. Anyway, now I feel, oh my god, he's going to lose a squad of heretics again. This particular predator, the Nurgle predator, does not seem especially strong against these tough squads like Trexx. I mean, I imagine it would probably be very, very effective against things like guardsmen, but it doesn't appear to be that good against the Trexx. But I mean, right now these are level 4 attacks, so they are incredibly tough. We also have a squad of level 2 attacks. And I mean, it looks like this completely unupgraded Predator was actually quite a bit more effective. Completely unupgraded Predator needs to not mess around with this level 4 Vanquisher Leman Russ. It will lose handily to this Leman Russ. So will the Nurgle Predator. Meanwhile, what's going on over here? A Lord General is going down. And now we've got double squads of a blast of flash gets. That's going to hurt guardsmen incredibly hard. It's going to hurt the Ogrins incredibly hard. We still have a squad of Dire Avengers running around from Falk. Might actually consider putting a Exarch on that. But a lot of level 4 squads in this game. Level 1 flash gets, level 2 flash gets, level 4 Leman Russ. Terminators don't level. I bet only a level 1 Plasma Cannon Devastator. And another squad of heretics goes down. Alright, he is definitely setting a record for heretic squads lost. Oh my, really? We have some rocks in base, pushing forward with double knobs just to have the sight on the base to rocks them, which is a terrible idea considering he's doing that play instead of capturing a point. And the red team is extremely low on VPs right now. I mean, that's a good thing. That would be a good play if it means you're holding a double or triple cap. It's not a good thing if you're doing it instead of securing the VPs. Anyway, meanwhile, sneaky Dire Avengers of all things getting a back cap on the red team's natural. That will at least even it out a 1-to-1, and I don't see a whole lot of red team stuff here. Maybe the Dire Avengers, the Commandos can scare them off, but it looks like everyone has their attention focused here. Instead, we have some Commandos called in a very precarious position, but it actually appears like they're winning this engagement. Now, the blue team is about to get a double cap, however, they do in fact get a double cap, so they need to get those Dire Avengers out of there, then get one of these units on this point ASAP, because soon we're also about to have a bunch of squads right here that are going to capture the point. We have a Psychic Storm, which will do damage to Terminators, however, it will not suppress them. Alright, this is looking like, this is honestly looking at this point like the blue team is going to take it. Terminators are so tough that they can just stay on the point and start getting the cap. All right, red team going to, hopefully, it's a very, very close call, going to even it out. We do have an infiltrated Sorcerer. Is he infiltrated? It looked like he was infiltrated. Hard to tell, but he's capturing the point. Tzeentch Predator actually doing a decent amount of damage to the Vanquisher Leman Russ, but the Vanquisher is getting repairs. It's moving back now. All right, Vanquisher needs to keep moving back. It pretty much just needs to get out of that engagement. Very low hit points, 38. A level 4 Vanquisher Leman Russ. Definitely want to keep that alive. That's an extremely valuable unit, extremely powerful. We have an Imperial Abyss. All right, this Vanquisher, oh. All right, yeah, unfortunately that Vanquisher was just overextended. Really should not have kept it out on the field with no repairs like that. Such a valuable unit lost like that. I mean, I guess he just really wanted to try to hold the point, and he thought maybe he was safe behind enemy lines. Back here, Dire Avengers nearly going down. We have some Commandos just kind of trolling around. They are now revealed. They should start shooting, though. Blast is shooting from long range. Yeah, they just got a little too close. Oh my god, how many squads? We have, well, 2 squads of Commandos, 3 squads of Nobs, and 3 squads of Flash Kits. Crazy orc compositions. With Dwayn only with Nobs and Commandos, and Trexx with Flash Kits and a Weird Boy. But here is that a singularity? No, that's another Eldritch. A good sense of mind, or good presence of mind, to only move forward and not retreat through it. Last time he moved forward but then retreated through it. This is a rocket run, and what is that going to kill? I think that's going to kill one of the Flash Kits. No, misses that spot of flash gets, so I don't think it actually killed any flash gets. Only killed a few models. Wow, Manifest with the help of Dwayn, managing to really overtake Lohaha at the moment, and it's now a triple cap for the red team, 60 VPs to 14, and honestly, it looks like they are poised to take this game. Absolutely incredible considering how many opportunities they had to lose it, how many squads of heretics Manifest lost. Must have sacrificed like 60, 70, 80 something heretics to the dark gods by himself. I'm really excited to check the stats for this game and look at how many squads of or how many models of or just how many units he lost. And in fact, the red team looking to take this game. Blue team getting their natural VP back, but it's just not in time. Some pretty crazy plays. Some cyclone missiles spreading all over the place. Alright. Wow. Considering wasn't familiar with really any of the players in this game, that was actually a very, very good game. And despite definitely some unskilled play at parts, it was actually a very, very good game. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.